So there you are, a whitewater paddler. You've got a solid roll and some technical skills, and you think you're ready to start learning how to deal with the push of heavy water. There's no better place than the U.S. National Whitewater Center. P5 was up for the challenge and wanted to give it a go. I think he's ready. Let's find out.
What do you say, bud? You ready? How about a pound? Yeah. So, all right, we're here at the Whitewater Park. I got little man, it'll be his first trip down. Lee Atkins is over there getting ready. He's gonna be kind of staying in the intro channel, I believe, but he's game for a little fun, so we'll probably run down the whole wilderness side, and then we'll see how he feels about the comp channel. But you ready, bud? Let's do it. World famous Lee, let me get your camera right. All right. Looking way down. Yeah, that's right. So I guess we'll do the intro section, and that way Pete can get a feel for it too. Then we'll decide what we want to do from there. There you go. How you doing, man? Good, and you? Good. Good to meet you. I'm Eddie Olmano. Oh yeah, I see your name all the time. Yeah, good to meet you. Likewise. Just getting some laps here? We just got here, but we're going to. This P5, my son. Nice to meet you, I'm Eddie. This is Lee. He's kind of at the beginning of his journey. Nice to meet you. You're gonna have a lot of fun. Oh yeah, he's rocking the high and dry. Take care, guys. I'll see you out there. Yeah, man, that'll work. You ready? Let's roll. We got a clearing. I'm gonna booth left, but you can go down the middle.
And so with the clearing of the rafts, we take off down the wilderness channel. And this is the booth at entrance exam. You can go down the straight middle or booth on the left. And now let's see if Lee can pass the entrance exam. Well, he did not pass this time. He even tried a roll or two, but was unsuccessful. I thought he was going to wash through the second rapid, so I was prepared to chase his boat a little bit. But as it turns out, he got himself together and was able to self-rescue in that first top eddy there. Once I verified that he was okay, I told him we were going to head on down and I would catch him back at the pond at the top. And off we go.
All right, he's good. You ready to go?
After the last Whitewater Center video, I had several suggestions from folks to paste the names of the rapids along the run. So I found for reference a hand-drawn map of the Whitewater Center depicting each of the names of the rapids. So you'll see those as we go down some of these runs. And if you'll notice, P5 is out in front of me, and this is his first time down. We did not scout it or walk around the park. He's never seen it before. He's just taking it as it comes. And we missed this last chance eddy, which puts him lining up to just bomb M-wave. And this is where the wilderness channel gets a little bit sporty. Let's see how he does.
Point your boat that way a little bit. son. Right over here. You didn't make it. You got a Shiva? Yeah. It'd be a much better boat for you. Oh yeah. Your Fuse is a play boat. It's meant to stop in holes and get upside down and vertical and everything. Yeah. Shiva would bust through it a lot easier. Yeah.
I stayed on this little kitty.
Yeah.
I'll probably have to do that again today.
Yeah. I heard that. Lap 2, you ready? Let's do it. You want to lead it? Not yet. Lean forward a little more as you're coming out of the rapids. That's just squirting your stern just a bit.
So P5 had a great first lap, and he's doing really well. And he's doing a couple things we're going to try to work on. Number one, he's leaning back in the bigger rapids, and it's causing that stern to load up and squirt his bow up in the air. And he's spinning his head to the side to keep the water out of his face from the big splash. And when doing so, he was leaning back. So we're going to try to work on that. He got better and better at that through the rest of the day. And another concept I'm going to introduce to him and start working on is to use the shoulders of these drops, the shoulders of the rapid, to get through without getting hung up in the wave holes. And so far he's been pretty much center plugging each of these features, and that's one way to do it, and sometimes it's a lot more fun, but it can get a little sporty, especially in features such as M-Wave, things like that. So I'm going to start showing him how to use just the right amount of shoulder to not catch the eddy, but to miss the main part of the hole. I did not give this piece of beta to him the first time, but as you go down through Sunset Hole here, I want him to drive across to the left side of the river and catch that last chance eddy, and make sure the route is clear before we jump into this next part of the channel, as there's a lot of rafts and a lot of carnage can happen down here if you get a little too crowded.
Yeah! Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's P5. My son.
Yeah, I recognize him before I recognize you.
Right on. Good stuff. Good stuff. You ready, buddy?
So Pete has had 2 awesome runs, and we head back to the conveyor belt to drop back in for another run. And this time, we're going to head down the instructional channel. And you see Pete take the left booth there at entrance exam, and then basically you take a left to get here into the instructional channel. And this channel is exactly what it says. It's for instruction. If you're newer to kayaking, if you don't have a solid roll, but you still want to learn some things, this is a great run. And getting you and your boat in and out of this channel is markedly easier than the other 2 channels in the park. It's not a very long channel. You can actually put in without having to go through entrance exam. Just put it on the bank and slide right in. You get to the bottom, you can carry right back up and keep lapping the little section there. So P5 and I are back in the wilderness channel and about to keep going down the river. And you can probably tell in the video, but P5 is getting more and more comfortable on this channel. He knows the lines, he's used to the way the water feels. He's fighting and learning to lock in those edges, and you'll see him bobble every now and then. But that's just him getting used to how that big water feels. Sometimes it's very confused. You just have to get used to it, and there is a learning curve for dealing with the push of that big water. And as usual, we'll just catch the little eddy here, last chance eddy. Just make sure you got some space if you want it, and then head on off. And you'll notice where I punched the M wave here, right on the left shoulder, and you just breeze through the rapid like nothing's there. You miss it too far left, you'll be in the squirrely water. You punch the hole, you may punch the hole, it may stop you, it may stand you up, you never know. But if you hit that sweet spot, you'll go right through. And I'm waiting for Pete here. We got a raft in front of us, which isn't terrible, but you gotta remember you're faster than a raft as long as you're moving forward in the river. So Pete's bleeding a little speed here coming to the end of the run, and it's good practice. It's another variable if you've never paddled around rafts. It's definitely something you have to keep your eye on. And while he's maintaining good distance from the raft in front of him, a bigger concern should be the rafts behind you, because they don't stop and they can't steer really well. And if you get stopped in a hole or if you have trouble, they will mow you down. And it's not on purpose, they just don't have the ability to maneuver quickly to get out of the way. In fact, we'll revisit this in just a bit, as I had my own little bit of extracurricular fun involving rafts at M-Wave. So P5 decided to take a quick break, and I ran a lap without him. So I want to point out a couple things that I'm working on with Pete as well, and that's doing more steering from the rear. It's something that he does well already, but it's even more important when you get in this fast, powerful water. Often paddlers, especially newer ones, will use backstrokes to get the front of their boat to point in the direction they desire. The joys of running a GoPro. So as I was saying, when you use a backstroke to change the directionality of your kayak, you're bleeding speed or you're slowing yourself down. The problem with that can come when you're in really fast water that is not slowing down, but your boat is. It turns the dynamic side of the boat to the rear, not the front. It's a lot easier to paddle if you're at least just a little faster than the water you're paddling through. When you're slower than the water pushes more on your stern than it does on your bow, and it becomes squirrely in a different way. Oftentimes people mistake this for a boat that won't go straight. They'll say things like, this boat keeps turning left and right, or I can't keep my bow to point the right direction. And really, they're just going too slow, allowing the river to push on their stern. And so if you watch as I'm coming down the Wilderness Channel here, I'm going through the river. You're in this thing, you're committed to it. You can't go slow in a fast river. You got to go the speed of the river. And as I often say, you need to match the intensity of the river you're on. So you don't want to over paddle and overdrive everything, but you definitely don't want to under paddle or underdrive it. You just want to be right there in the pocket, staying a little faster than the river. Don't be afraid of the speed. Don't be afraid to be aggressive. Get in there and paddle forward. And a couple ways this shows up right off the bat is watch Pete as he puts a stroke in as he's going through the holes, and then immediately after keeping that paddle back down in the water. Right there, paddles in the water. He's comfortable, but he's keeping a paddle in the water. You don't want to go through these things with the paddle over your head. You can't just stop paddling in the middle of the holes. The more contact with the water your paddle blades have, the more control you have over the river. And in this next clip, Pete misses the sweet spot just about 8 inches too far right, and it got his edge. It very much just stopped him and grabbed that upstream edge, dumped him, but he pulls up a nice brace, and Pete really never gets rattled, so he immediately turns around and starts paddling down the river. I kind of do a little 360 here to give him a little space. But you can see as we're going down through this water, this is very confused, boily, crazy water. You can't just stop and wish you weren't here. You got to keep paddling through. And you see Pete's getting a lot better at keeping those edges locked and paddling forward through the river. And you'll get little bobbles here and there as you're learning how to do big water. It's just the name of the game. All right, quickly moving again on this next run all the way to M-Wave here. We'll put a lot of this into motion. What you want to do is hit the shoulder. You want to keep your paddle in the water and no backstrokes. And right there, Pete is in the sweet spot. He's not too far right this time. Paddle in the water, and you'll see he just breezes right over it like it's not there. Right there gets a little squirrely. Keep paddling. And he's decided to catch that eddy to reestablish control. Good call. I'll jump in there with him. And if you can catch eddies, boof to eddies, anything you can get out of that current and reestablish your control, that's your moment to breathe. And then you gotta lock your edge, ferry back out into that stuff, and keep moving down the river. So just to keep us honest, look for any backstrokes we may be taking. There may be a few, but there's not gonna be many. You can do everything off a forward stroke in most cases. And here's a prime example. We're coming through this little S-turny area, and Pete needs to turn right. So instead of doing a right backstroke, he does a left stern draw, which has the same effect on his kayak, but he keeps his speed, he keeps his natural paddle cadence. He just adds that draw in to the back of that left stroke. So that allowed him to keep his speed and his natural paddle cadence, drive up on the right shoulder of biscuits, and punch through gravy at the bottom. And when you're first starting out on easy, tame water, it really doesn't make that big a difference. But these little nuances that you can add into your paddling will be the difference between success and failure on the more technical runs. And I just love watching my son paddle. So this next little bit is as much for me as anything, but see if you can predict what will happen to him based on how he's paddling, and see if you can find a backstroke anywhere. part of the beauty of this park is that you can see the same rapids over and over and over again, and you can actually try to do them in different ways and see a tangible physical improvement of how you run the rapids based off trying different things. It's a remarkable place. I highly recommend it. And now let's take a look at the comp channel. Now, right off the bat, I have to apologize. I had to switch to my GoPro 7 and I was trying to get a high frame rate, and I forgot that it does not support the image stabilization at 120 frames a second, so it's a little bit choppy. Right off the bat is a rapid named Cheese Grater, pretty straightforward. And then you're right into Rooster Tail, followed by the Sketch Wave right behind it, and then up against the wall at Zoom Flume. And you'll know right away that the comp channel is faster, bigger, and pushier than the Wilderness channel. If it didn't work out for you, catch an eddy because you'll be arriving soon at the bridge drop. After the bridge drop, you'll be in quad, 4 big eddies in a big circle. A lot of times the current will push you to the left side here. Just kind of relax up against the wall, catch your breath, look for help, pretend like you're not nervous. Lots of people watching here. You want to look cool. So you got yourself back together. Now you're peeling out into Pinball Alley. Of course you're trying to look cool, but you know just up ahead is the infamous Carnage Corner. And here at Carnage Corner, we'll freeze the frame, and right off the bat you see some things to note. 5150 is an eddy on the right, followed by the Pillow Rock. We'll talk about that more in a minute. You have the Interrogation Room is the last eddy on the left, and the last eddy on the right is the Room of Doom. And let's talk about that Pillow Rock. A lot of people do have trouble with the big drop here, and it all starts with that Pillow Rock. Now the Pillow Rock is not on their mind. What's on their mind is trying to stay right as they come through the corner here. They don't want to fall off the left side of big drop. And so what they do is they punch this seam I'm at way too far on the right, drive up too far upstream on the Pillow Rock, and basically bounce off, lose all their momentum, and get folded into the seam on the back side of the Pillow Rock. And you can see me fall into the seam right there. It's really boily, sucks your boat down, and drives you to the left side of big drop. Now for most people, this seems to be a worst case scenario for how they want to run it. We used to boof the left side all the time on purpose. If you find yourself here, do not try to get back center. Aim for the left eddy, boof it, and go forward. It's going to be crazy in there, but it's not going to be as bad as if you hit that hole sideways. So definitely square up on that hole there and just work it out from there. And as you see here, I'm just kind of in the churny, boily stuff. Gets a little rowdy. Just kind of keep your cool about you. You'll get a chance to get out in just a minute. And this happens to be a place known as the Tourist Trap. And this is the left side eddy. The right side eddy is called the Toilet Bowl. You may be here for a little while, and I'll show you a trick to get out in just a second. All right, now we're gonna take it back up just to the top of the big drop, and I'm gonna show you a better way to get through Carnage Corner. And it all starts with knowing how to work that Pillow Rock. So as you can see, I'm lined up much further left, and what I'm gonna do is just punch this first wave, and more importantly, you need to hit the next wave in the right spot. And basically what I'm gonna do is go down in the valley a little further left of the Pillow Rock so that I can shoot up over the pillow on the back side of the rock towards the Room of Doom eddy. And that will allow me to punch through the bounce off Pillow Rock and keep my rightward momentum going so I can get up and over the big drop more centered. This is the one that's important. You stay a little lower. You see the Pillow Rock is on my right going by, and I climb the hill now and punch through that pillow with a lot more rightward angle. One more left stroke, keep me out of that seam that tries to grab you, and from here, you're golden. Just hold on, ride the lightning, try to keep your bow up as you hit the pile, and paddle your way through it. You can also lock your knees and your core here so that you can skip over the top of the water and not get stuck in all the crazy eddies and boils. And you can see that's a much more preferable line. You're set up to come right through, skip over the top of everything. You don't get stuck in either the Tourist Trap or the Toilet Bowl. Generally, the secret to making the big drop successfully is the approach, and that starts 20 or 30 yards and several features upstream of the actual drop that everyone's worried about. If you have the correct approach and the lead-in rapids to the big drop, you'll be set for success. And it all starts with paddling aggressively You have to trust yourself that you can go down through that hole and climb back up on the backside of the pillow rock. If you're paddling nervous, you're going to be cheating too far right in the beginning, and it's actually going to slam you back to the left. The bigger the water, the bigger confidence you have to have while you're paddling. And that's the beauty of this park, as I said before. It allows you to build that confidence because the water and the river is not the variable. They are a constant. You can see the same rapid over and over, and you can try different things, you can try different boats, you can try different lines, and you're the variable here. And when you can change what you need to change to make it through the rapids successfully, you're getting an immense amount of education, an immense amount of experience on this river as compared to a natural river where you normally only get one shot at a rapid on the run of a day. You can dial in the nuances of your paddling and see immediate differences in your results. And for this next clip, I'm going to run at full speed, no music, just the sights and sounds of the comp channel, starting out with catching the hero eddy behind the gate here at the Rooster Tail. Enjoy. Alright, as promised, here we are stuck in the tourist trap. And how you get out here is get your way back into this corner and you wait for the eddy to surge. It'll go up and down a foot or two sometimes. You stay back in that corner till the water goes way up, and on its way out, you jump in there and ride that surge of water out, get up to speed, and just like that, you're on your way down the river. And perhaps you were a little shaky coming through the big drop. Well, these last two rapids here will give you the opportunity to impress everyone that's still watching that you're not a beater. So tear it up, go for it. And so just remember, number one rule in kayaking is to look cool and smile. Pretend like you're on film. If you feel like it looked good on film, you're probably doing it right. And that's just something I tell people that has a little truth to it. If you can calm yourself down and pretend like you're being filmed, a lot of times it changes how you paddle, and it makes you realize that you may be flailing about and panicking a little bit versus keeping your cool and just paddling the water. And that brings me around to the last clip here, where I discuss what happens when a raft is right behind you and you get stuck in a hole. And this is a hazard both on natural rivers and here at the park, and there's some things you can do to help yourself out. But basically, I'll let you see the footage first, and then I'll walk you through what happened and what I was trying to do. And basically, as we come down into M-Wave here, I have Pete out in front of me to get the footage, and I was trying to stay right on his tail. And what he did is line up too far towards the center of the wave, and I thought he might get stuck. And being that I was right behind him, I did not power through myself. He stalls out at the top, but gets through. I didn't paddle, and therefore I did not make it through. Back surfed back into M-Wave, and there's my raft. It's pointing to my right, so I'm trying to go left. I ended up needing to flip to try to flush the hole. All it did was window shade me. I'm still in the hole, Fortunately, the raft went by on my right, which was river left, and then I'm trying to surf my way out of the hole in a remix. Climb out of that thing. It's a pretty big hole, especially when you're down in there. It's a great wave to surf. I really enjoy surfing that wave, especially with a playboat, but in a long creeker, sometimes it's a little bit of a chore. And once again, that's why we set up in the last chance eddy, to let the rafts ahead of us clear out, but also to try to pick a spot when there's no rafts behind you. That way you can surf out of there at your own time without feeling rushed, so that you don't eat a big giant blue potato.
Little man, beast mode. I had GoPro issues, got a little water in there, I think, during a battery change. And I was trying to catch super slow, and it was on one of those runs. I looked behind me, and he had gotten destroyed in M-Wave. I mean, it wasn't looking good. And it was 2 or 3 roll attempts? 2. One, he got about halfway back down. I was just getting crushed. But he did roll up, he pulled it out. It was the most gnarly combat roll he's ever done, for sure. And you feel good about it, don't you? Look at that smile, that's what I'm talking about. Didn't do the comp channel today, maybe next time, right?
Possibly.
He's ready. If he wants to, he could do it right now. Nothing to it. It's just bigger and fluffier. And faster. And bigger. Had a blast. World famous Lee Atkins. Hooking a brother up. I've got his SD card with the footage. Hopefully, I think there'll be some good footage of us coming through M-Wave. So if you see the third person footage, world famous cinematographer Lee will take care of that for me. He had a quick day, but he'll get it next time. Entrance exam, how'd that go for you, Lee? Let's talk about it.
It was a little rough.
Can you walk us through that?
Well,
Wait, before you do it, let's go to the footage. Lean forward. What do you say?
It felt like the boat went down.
The boat did go down.
The boat went down the back. I thought I made it over.
Oh, you did. It was a beautiful stern squirt. And then it went all the way over. Then
no roll.
I thought the high and dry
something
was going to work.
I thought it was too. But I was worried about getting in that hole and going that other way.
Oh,
I don't want to go that way with the rafts. I wanted to go to the kiddie
Oh,
section.
gotcha. Well, didn't make his roll today, but I'm sure he'll get it next time. Good stuff. It's not the last. You'll see a Lee. We'll get him back out. He's gonna maybe come tomorrow, I think, and work again with the bigger boat. Something that'll take care of him a little bit better, but we'll get him out there on the river as well.
I appreciate
it, man. You stay safe.
All right.
Enjoyed hanging out with you. I think he liked it. Is that the most fun you've had in a kayak? Close?
Yes.
What's the most fun? Tellico?
I probably have to go back through my memory.
Tellico?
Yeah,
Nolly Gorge?
probably
Wilson?
Tellico.
Tellico?
Not Nolly.
But this is bigger and wilder than the low water Tellico.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Next time, comp channel, and then there's no stopping him. Evan Spire. Pete said you got to join him for the comp channel run. I need to get you down here. We're gonna spend a full day down here. You, me, and Pedro, and whoever else wants to come. This place is calling your name, Evan. Everyone, thanks for watching, and did I let everyone know already that I'm proud of that little man who's not so little anymore? Beast mode.